Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Is buying a Tesla worth it over every other kind of EV? Let's talk about it. So a few weeks ago, I was at a dinner party and the topic of a Tesla came up. I mean, most of my friends and family know that I drive a Tesla, right? So, of course, they're going to ask me, what do I think? Should they buy a Tesla over another EV? And the first thing I think of is, great, you're thinking of getting an EV, which is the first step, which is a correct step. Now, from there, they want to know whether they should get a Tesla or if they should get one of the other manufacturers. So it made me think. And of course, I said, you know what, just as long as you get any kind of EV, and that's at the end of this whole conversation and this whole video, at the end of it, if you get any EV, you'll be better overall. But why should you get a Tesla over any other kind of manufacturer? So I did some research and I found a chart, and I'll put it up right over here. So with this chart, what it does is it shows all the current models of Teslas, with the exception, obviously, of the Roadster and the Semi. And it even throws in the Model Y because, as we know, it's very, very close to production. It's going to start in a few weeks anyways. So what it shows here is the Model S, comparing it to a Porsche Taycan. And now why they use a Porsche Taycan, I don't know. I don't know where this chart came from. If I did, I would give the person that put it together some credit. But what it does is shows in the top left corner there, the Model S, as I said, compared to a Porsche Taycan. And it does the 0 to 60, it does the maximum speed, it does the range, and then it does the price. And what you have to look at here, I don't really care about the maximum speed. I know they all show it. What I'm going to concentrate on is obviously the performance, which is 0 to 60. And it's very, very close in this case between these two cars. 2.4 for the Model S and 2.6 for the Taycan. The range is where the separation starts to grow. We're looking at, for the Model S, a 348 mile range. Now, that's actually from the last earnings call. Elon said that's actually greater than that, and they could actually even squeeze out a little bit more. But let's just use the numbers that are here, 348. And let's look over at the Taycan, and it's 192. Now, this is the Turbo S. The just a regular Taycan Turbo got an EPA range of 201. Now, these are all EPA ranges, folks. So I know that's a little low for all you Porsche fans. That's a little low. And I keep saying Porsche. When I say Porsche, if you want to say Porsche, feel free to do so. I know there's tomatoes, and stuff like that. So keep in mind. I'm going to say Porsche, but I really mean Porsche. But I keep forgetting. So let's get back to the chart. 192 miles. And that, even though I think the EPA got that a little wrong, I saw some videos where actual industry people that have test drove the Taycan have said that it's actually getting more like 240. For argument's sake, let's just go with what the numbers are, but keep in mind, it can do about 240. And you know what? Even if you want to include 240, let's throw that in there. So 240 compared to 348, it's over 100 miles difference. And remember, this Porsche is a brand new car, 2020 or 2019. And yeah, even the Model S is new too. But keep in mind, the Model S in 2012 was getting better range than, which is a 7 to 8 year old car. It's getting better range than the cars today. And let's look at the price. We can't avoid that, folks. That's the last thing we're going to look at. We're looking at basically about 100 grand for the Model S in that category, and then the Porsche 188.9. So basically, let's not split hairs, folks. It's basically 190,000. So $90,000 more, almost double. Okay, folks, let's get one thing straight before we continue. Don't get me wrong. Any of these cars that I'm comparing it to, this isn't my chart. This is a chart that I totally agree with, and they are the most comparable cars to the Tesla's models that are out there now. But I'm not, making fun of these cars. I'm not insulting these cars. These cars are great cars, and I would have any one of these cars in a heartbeat if Tesla wasn't in the game. So let's get back to the chart. So right off the bat, you can see the Model S is far superior than the Taycan. Now let's leave that performance category alone in the top left and move over to the top right. The most popular car Tesla makes, the Model 3, and this is the standard range. Now we're comparing this to the Volkswagen. So the ID.3, we know that it's a European car, and there is rumors that it may come to North America later this year. We'll have to wait and see. But let's look at the numbers, folks. 0 to 60 for the Model 3 in 5.3 seconds. For the Volkswagen, 8 seconds. Range, 250-mile range for the Model 3 and 170-mile range for the Volkswagen. And last but not least, the price, we're looking at just under 40 grand, 39,999 for the Model 3 and 35,000 for the Volkswagen. So you're looking at about $5,000 more, but look what you get for $5,000 more. You get better performance in acceleration. You have way better range. You're looking at about 80 miles difference in range, folks. So you have to say to yourself, for that $5,000 extra, is that 80 miles worth it to you? I mean, I know the answer that I would say, but you'll have to make that decision for yourself. So that is the top two, the Model S and the Model 3 in the top corner. Let's move down to the bottom left, the Model X. Now, they compare, in this chart, whoever put this chart together, compared it to the Audi e-tron. 0 to 60 for speeds, 4.4 seconds for the Model X, and 5.5 seconds for the e-tron. Total range now, 328 miles for the Model X, and for the e-tron, we're looking at a 204, just over 200 mile range. So let's look at the price. Now, the price, once again, it's very similar to the Volkswagen. The price here is $84,999. So basically $85,000 for the Model X, and for the e-tron, we're looking at $80,000, just over $80,000. So once again, almost a $5,000 difference between the two cars. But look what you get for it. You get over 120 miles difference. 120 miles. Now, if you didn't think that spending $5,000 in the Model 3 compared to the Volkswagen was enough to just get those 80 miles, well, you get over 120 difference in the Model X. So once again, in my opinion, and I think that's what this chart denotes here, the Tesla wins out. And last but not least, in the bottom right corner, we're looking at the Tesla Model Y, which is coming out soon. It's a performance model. We're comparing this one to the Ford Mustang Mach-E. 0 to 60, they're almost dead even. Now, the Mach-E hasn't come out yet, and they are stating, Ford's stating they can get a 0 to 60 in 3.5. So we're going to go with that. 3.5 seconds, so that's a wash for both cars. Now, we're looking at 315 miles for the Model Y and 250 miles for the Mach-E. Once again, we're looking at 65 miles difference. Prices, we're looking at 69.9 basically for the Model Y. Let's just say 61, and 65.5, so 65.5 for the Mach-E. So you're spending more money, over $4 grand more for the Ford than you are for the Model Y, and you're getting 65 miles less. You're getting over 100 kilometers less. So what I haven't taken into consideration here, folks, is styling. Styling is so subjective. So what you may like, I may not like, and vice versa. Do I think the Taycan is a gorgeous looking car? It is. It's an amazing car. The ID3, well, the jury's out on that. The e-tron, cool looking car. Not an Audi guy, but it's a cool looking car, looks wise. And the Mach-E, it looks cool. It looks cool, but I still like the Model Y design better. So this is what that chart compares, folks. But moving on from that, what I found is some other interesting tidbits that aren't in that chart. And you know what? I can't take credit for this. I found this digging around Twitter, and I found this by a guy named Doug on Twitter. His handle was Doug D. Sketchling, I believe it is. I'm giving full credit to him. I might be butchering his Twitter handle. But what he mentions that isn't mentioned in that chart is some things that are very important that distinguish the difference between Tesla and all the other brands. What you don't want to forget is the supercharging network. Supercharging network is invaluable. I've talked so much about it. If you're a Tesla person or you're looking for an EV, that's the whole reason you're probably watching this video. If you're a Tesla person, you know what the supercharging network, how valuable it is and how essential it is if you travel and you do a lot of road trips and stuff like that. If you don't do road trips and you just use your car every day and you charge at home all the time, then you're fine. You won't need a supercharging. But if you do road trips with your car, supercharging is essential. And, you know, I mean, say what you want to say about Volkswagen, but the Electrify America, they're putting out chargers everywhere for the Volkswagens and for Porsche and stuff like that. And they're great, right? I mean, they're making it good, and they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work ahead of them, folks, because if they want to catch up to the supercharging network. So let's just say supercharging, hands down, It's one of the most important things you have to think of when deciding between a Tesla or not. The superior drivetrain technology. We all know about the 100-mile battery. We've all seen pictures of the gear that came out of a Tesla that did 100 miles. We see how perfect it is and how pristine it is, and doesn't look like there's any wear on it. Tesla's been doing this for a while. Other manufacturers are now jumping on, and the technology for Tesla is far superior than to anyone else's. Once again, these are my opinions, folks. So if you think differently, leave a comment, leave a respectable comment down below, and we can discuss it respectably like adults. Safety. Safety is a huge thing. When I got my Tesla, I got it because I knew I wanted to have a safe vehicle for my family. So crash ratings, 5 stars in every model, in every category. That's what was important to me. Security of having Sentry mode. A lot of people can say, you know, all cars have some kind of security in their cars in this day and age, but Sentry mode is far beyond anything else, and it was one of the best things that Tesla put in their cars. And last but not least, folks, over-the-air software updates. We can't forget about that. That is one of the most essential things. Car manufacturers are now seeing how beneficial it is to Tesla, and they're trying to implement it in their cars now. I think Volkswagen's dealing with it in their ID3, but they're having problems. They're realizing how difficult it is and how far ahead Tesla is from anyone else with these software updates. Every software update, your car keeps getting better and better. What other manufacturer do you know that does that? Anyways, folks, I just wanted to share my opinions with you and show you that chart. Once again, I don't know who put that chart together, but props to whoever it was. They did a great example, and it's fairly new. It's got to be fairly new because it's got the Model Y with all the new Model Y range numbers in there. Once again, like I said, if you have any comments, or you disagree with me, or you agree with me, or you know something that I missed, leave a comment down below, and we'll discuss it more after the video. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Yeah.